Don't try. Wow.
Do you want to introduce this podcast?
It's not a podcast.
What's this called then?
Just don't know. What are we doing?
Trips and tips. Trips and chicks.
Trips from chicks.
Trips and tricks and chicks. What was it?
It was tips and tricks. I don't know why you found that so difficult. Oh!
I know what it is though.
Yes, I'm turning 30 and so what? I bet you're looking great. Fuck you, you can leave that in there as well. Welcome, again, to the channel that we still haven't figured out what we're doing here. But basically, I'm Jyoti, and what we're doing is we're putting up little films, little videos, little segments of me explaining to you how I got to where I currently am within the music side of my career, whatever you want to call it. Because you know what? My life might be a mess. Can't get a freaking man to text me back because only Geminis are attracted to me. Anyways, to bring it back on topic, one thing that isn't a mess is my work life. Everything's going great. Everything is going as it should be at the speed it should be going and very organically. So what we're doing in these little films is give you little things from my perspective and let that be very clear. But I figured out, let me just share because we don't do that enough. We left it on the subject of putting mixes online. So I want to pick that up. So here we are, why to put your mixes online and why online platforms are important. Easy, it's your CV. You can go around and tell any promoter and any booker that you're sick and you've played for Beyonce at her Grammy party last year. How the hell is anybody gonna know? Because one, you're not allowed to film at Beyonce's parties. I wouldn't know. But what you can do is figure out if I'd be good enough to play at a Beyonce Grammy party because of the mixes I put online. See what I did there? That's exactly what you should do. It's basically having a CV online showing a different range of what you're into and what you're capable of. What's also really important to note is it's no secret that I work for a streaming platform, and I have actually seen bedroom DJs and bedroom producers go from just being these local guys and girls who grew a really niche following to start off with just because they were so sneaky about a certain sound or a certain movement, and have a very organic grow by being very consistent and very reliable. And they've grown into having the biggest channels on these streaming platforms, now actually getting booked for DJ sets and actually making a whole career out of it. The mixes that you put online is basically sending in a demo, whether that is to get an actual set at a club, but also for getting maybe a radio show if that's what you're into. These mixes that you put up online, if you haven't had a show previously, is actually your demo that you will be sending in, specifically depending on whether you want to be a specialist or a presenter. Hold that thought, we'll get into that. These mixes are also what you would send to another DJ who you really look up to, who maybe already have radio shows and often have guests or guest mixes. If you know somebody you're a really big fan of and you feel like you look up to them or you compliment their sound, or you know that whatever you do on the decks is something that they would really be into, whatever these mixes are on whatever platform you use, and honestly, trust me, there's not one better one. It all depends on what sound you're into and where your audience lives. And this is all something you will discover by doing more research and more homework. Asking them if you can do a guest mix is a great step up as well, because having a cosign from someone that actually already has a career and is considered a trustworthy tastemaker is the best way to get a little bit more known and get your name out there. Please don't do the following, which I get a lot. Research properly. If you want to get a guest mix on someone else's show, don't be just shooting messages here and there, not knowing what you're talking about. Trust me, it's the worst. I play on a radio station based in London called Rinse FM, which has a long and rich history in certain UK electronic genres. Now, not all shows on Rinse FM are of those sounds, and mine definitely isn't. But what I do get a lot is messages from artists and DJs sending in a mix or music claiming that they love my show and that they would love to have their music played on Rinse. And when I listen to it, not that there's anything wrong with it, but if you've ever listened to any of my shows, you kind of get what type of vibe sonically I'm into. By listening to a song that is the complete opposite of that, and so far removed from anything I've ever played, lets me know that you didn't really even bother to, let alone listen, just even clicking on my podcast link where all my previous guests are lined up. You don't even have to listen to it. If you just take 5 minutes and look at pictures I've posted of previous guests, or just going on my SoundCloud, for example, and seeing the names of the guests, you'll go, okay, she's a lot into soul, R&B, hip hop, that type of stuff. You wouldn't go into a job interview not doing some sort of research, which brings me into my next point. It doesn't actually, because I just said something else. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The next point is coming now. So here it is. Really quickly, I'm gonna break it down to you how radio often works. This is not everywhere, but usually, especially in the UK where radio culture is super big, there's a divide between presenters and specialists. Now, the difference is that presenters often are more known for their personality. They very often tend to go into television and presenter work on camera after their radio career or simultaneously. And it's more about what they're saying, how they're saying it. They're very entertaining. You feel like you kind of know the person. You tune in regardless of what music they play. It's more to hear them. And they're often provided with a playlist from that station, which is something that I admire very much because I actually started off as a presenter and noticed that I couldn't really talk about music that I wasn't a huge fan of or that I didn't bring myself. If you're on the other side of the spectrum, you're a specialist. Very often these are mixing based shows, not all the time, and they're more often about what music is played and what kind of knowledge and information comes with it. Some specialists don't talk at all. Some do a little bit of talking over the music, and you can have shows like myself where I do interviews every time, so there's a lot of interaction just by speaking. And I bring all my music myself. And then there's also guest mixes. So it's really specially curated by me, but I bring a persona and a character to the show as well. There's a difference between not mixing and mixing, maybe in what it sounds like, but that doesn't make you any less of a specialist. And I think this is what actually scares a lot of young people that I come across. A lot of people come up to you saying, I really want to go on radio, but I don't know how to mix. I started 4 years ago. I've had my show for 4 years now, and I've only been DJing for 2. Until today, I still do not mix on my show. I like traditional radio. I'm also on a Saturday morning, but whatever time you're on also has something to do with that. I like to play my songs full length, and I like to save my DJing and my mixing for the clubs. A lot of times specialists are people who are already DJs. They're part of collectives. They either work for publications, labels, or are, in the wider sense of the word, tastemakers. They are known to have great... Why do you do this?
Because I was going to ask you what a tastemaker is.
Right. A tastemaker in music is someone who has proven themselves to have a lot of knowledge on certain parts of the industry. And they look at them and trust them with whatever information that they give, whether that's through speaking about it, playing the music, whatever else can you do with music, making it. Does that make sense, Ayshe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all right. You're welcome. Don't let not being able to DJ put you off. What you do need is to know your stuff, be confident, and be passionate. In order to get on a radio station, you need to send in a demo. Now, very often this can just be a mix. What works better is, especially if you want to get more in the field of talking, interviewing, hosting, is something that you've recorded where you can hear your vocals as well. Nowadays, you can literally do this at home. It doesn't matter if you've recorded something on your iPhone as long as you have software and the skills to edit it all nicely and make it sound like a proper radio show. Again, nothing's personal. It might take years and years and years before you get on whatever a traditional radio station means nowadays. It's 2020. Anything could be a radio station. It's not something that has a name or a brand. It could be your Mixcloud page with all your mixes on it. That is your radio station, and that's how you really need to value it and treat it. Make sure that people look at that and might give you another opportunity simply based off of that. Think about it that way. Have faith. Everything will happen at the right time. Having a radio show is definitely a plus. I would say for me, my DJ career started off of the back of my radio show. I was accessing the bedrooms, the living rooms, the cars of people all around the world and was able to show them what kind of music I'm into and also what type of music I would be playing hypothetically if they were to bring me to their country or their city or to their favorite clubs. It gives you an access to a pool of people that you normally never be able to reach. But don't think that that is necessarily what you need. I think especially in the UK and here in London, the two seem to go hand in hand. But when you travel to cities where radio is not that big, even for example, the States, where radio will always be a commercial thing and they will always play the major labels and the DJs on that station have been on that for years and years. They are not necessarily the hottest DJs that we would book here in the UK. We see them as radio personalities, presenters, hosts. And a lot of the hottest DJs in LA or New York that actually play out and are the most wanted and that get flown out to Europe to do big DJ sets, they don't have radio shows. Does it help? For Shure. If you're seeing this on Instagram, go to my page, drop me a little message. Let me know what else you want to hear, what you thought. Follow if you're into it, whatever. Doesn't matter, because again, Instagram doesn't pay my bills. Very important. Stay tuned for the next video. And maybe I'll get less. No, I won't be any less serious. It's serious topics. We talk about serious shit.
Serious shit. Fresh shit.
Life is serious right now, guys. It's really serious. If you're a Gemini man, do not call me. Do not slide in no messages anywhere. I'm not interested. Because did you know that statistically, most serial killers are Geminis?
Oh my God.
Look it up. Look it up. Look it up.
Fucking hell.
Look it up.